Good evening, friends. We are live. It's a special live. Tonight is 100 nights. We set out 100 days ago to challenge, to go live for 100 days straight. It just so happens that it was the same day that our president was inaugurated. Had nothing to do with that other than the fact that a president has their first 100 days, and this will have been my first 100 days of streaming live every day. We're going to blow right through the 100 days and keep going. I've decided to, for the foreseeable future, just to continue to go live. This whole Dogecoin thing is just super exciting. It's addicting. It's, all kinds of things, and I know you know what I'm talking about. And so, like we do every night, I'm going to start out by kind of highlighting the market cap, where Dogecoin falls in the top 10, talk about a few of the others in the top 10. But before I do that, I want to announce that I'm doing a giveaway tonight. I'm giving away a Flex watch. They're really cool. I've got a black one as well. This is the black one. Going to give away one today. We'll give away another one another time. But all you have to do is hang on with me for a little bit longer, and we will announce the way that you get entered in a little bit later. But thanks for joining. We're live right now on YouTube. If you're coming in from Twitter, let us know. If you're coming in by searching on YouTube, if you're subscribed, all of the things, just let me know where you're joining from, how you got connected with us. If you're a regular, I'll recognize, but nonetheless, we want to get started. So, as I mentioned, I want to first go through, like we normally do, the market cap. And, of course, always, and probably forever, we've got Bitcoin on top. They're in that $1 trillion market cap level where they've been now for the last about 3 days. For a while there, they were under a trillion. 53,000 price. It's not been able to find a way to get back up to its all-time high, but it's looks like it's kind of been flat. Ethereum, though, is a different story. Ethereum went down just like Bitcoin had over the last several days, but it has hit an all-time high this week, 2,700, which is pretty amazing. Binance Coin is number 3, XRP is number 4, Cardano is number 5, and I want to go ahead and say Doge is number 6. Okay, so it was 7 yesterday, and now it's 6, so that's pretty amazing. It has worked its way up a spot in the top 10, which is pretty exciting. 40 billion in market cap and 4 billion in volume. Now the volume today is down considerably. It's actually down 67%. Yesterday was 14 billion in volume, so it was a stellar day for volume, and I think most of that can be attributed to, or a lot of it at least, can be contributed to the tweet from Elon Musk, which we all probably know by now, when he tweeted Doge Father and referencing Saturday Night Live. I think everyone's anticipating what he will do on Saturday Night Live, whether there'll be any direct mention of Dogecoin or some in a sense, metaphors used. Who knows? It's really interesting, though. Today's high was 32, and today's low was 29 on Dogecoin, and it's hovering around 31 right now, and it's been like that most of the day. So I want to go ahead and also drill down into the details just for a moment, and if for no other reason to show you all how you can do this yourself. I'm going to actually cut and paste this link here in a minute and put in the chat. But I like to go into the historical data here as you can see, and that's what allows me to see not only what it's done today, but what it's done in previous days, just to get a sense if I've been doing other things and don't have it all in my memory, how things have gone. So as you can see, yesterday, 14 billion. So that was an amazing day. The closing price, 32. So it closed a little bit higher yesterday, and it actually had a little bit lower low. So yesterday at its low, in anticipation of what might happen on the 8th, might have been the best time to buy. I'm not saying not to buy some more now, and we're going to get to the comments here in a minute. And I'd be curious what you think about whether right here now on April 29th at 10:41 p.m. Central Standard Time, if 31.27 is a price to get in, or is it a place to just hold what you have, not knowing what's coming up on May 8th. I'm also of the opinion, we'll just have to wait and see, that maybe tomorrow, which is actually the day before, that there may be some run up then. It'll be interesting to see if there's any traction on the day of, maybe early in the day. Don't know. I do know that on 420, it seemed like all of the activity was mostly on the days leading up to 420, and then unfortunately on 420, as we all know, we didn't quite see what we were hoping for. But there's been a lot of things that have happened since then. We had that amazing day that we had yesterday. Today, as we've just shown, even though the volume was lower, I guess that really means that less was, if I'm thinking this through right, that means that less Dogecoin was actually sold. And so, again, we actually gained a spot. We've been in the number 7 spot for quite a while. So let's get back to the comments here and see what we've got. So the next thing we want to talk about, I want to talk about a couple of different websites / apps that I've started using, and I'm really starting to like those. So I thought this would be a good time to share with you some of those. And the first one that I want to talk about, which I'm actually super excited about, is an app / website called BlockFi. Super excited about this, actually. And what you can do here is you can basically transfer in money, let's say, from your bank account, and earn interest on it. And not just a small amount of interest. You can actually, for about a 3-month period, earn 10.5 or 10% interest. And then after that, if we're talking about a USDC stablecoin, or there's a couple of other stable coins. I can click on this and show you. So you've got GUSD, which I don't know a lot about. Let me move my picture-in-picture because it's in the way. I'm going to move this one more time. Here we go. We've got Bitcoin, of course, which you can transfer in. You can transfer any of these in. Ether, Litecoin, GUSD, which is a stable coin. USDT, which is Tether, is another stable coin. I am not as familiar with PAX. USDC, again, another stable coin. PAXG, I'm not so familiar with. Link, I am familiar with. And then Bitcoin, I believe that's Bitcoin US, or that may be Binance, but nonetheless, you've got a number. Any of these that say USD are definitely stable coins. So one of the things you can do, which is what I did, is I transferred money from my bank, and you get immediate credit for it, even though it takes 3 to 5 business days for it to actually get there. I transferred in $100 into USDC as a stable coin because I just wanted to earn, quote unquote, regular interest. And so for the next 3 months, I'm going to be earning 10% on whatever I bring in there, and you get paid your interest monthly, and you can actually have that interest. You can receive that interest in Bitcoin, a number of other cryptocurrencies, or in US dollars. So you get to choose, and that's pretty cool. So what they have here, which is kind of neat, is a little like calculator of okay, with a particular coin put in, and then a particular amount. So let's say we take, I don't know, 100,000 USDC or $100,000. Keep it in there for 10 years. You're looking at $12,000 interest per year. Not bad. $128,000 over 10 years. Now, of course, what you could do, although this particular calculator won't show it, you could take that in Bitcoin or something else instead. And so you not only could be gaining interest, but you could be getting that interest in a cryptocurrency that would appreciate in value. And not only that, if you change this, for example, to Bitcoin, you're going to earn a smaller interest. And of course, 100,000 Bitcoin, I don't know, I definitely don't have that. So let's just say we had 20. So you're going to earn $26,615 per year over 10 years. This is how much you would have in US dollars. But if you put that into a cryptocurrency instead, then you're getting kind of what I will say is a double whammy. So I'm pretty excited about BlockFi. And I do have a link in the description if you want to check it out, or just go to blockfi.com. Either way, I'm not here really to sell you on it. So if it makes you feel better to not use my link and go check it out, by all means do. But for the regulars here, I think you know what we're here to do, and that's to bring value. So any body that clicks on the links, that's obviously much appreciated. Next thing I wanted to go to and show you a little bit more, but let me go to the comments here, see if we've got anybody got any questions. So if you're watching the replay, by the way, just go ahead and put in the comments any questions you might have about any of the things that we're covering, or if you want to make a comment or whatever, then that's totally cool. So Neo had good earnings, I heard. Hey, yeah, I did not get to watch the hang tight, and I'll pull up Neo. I kind of have an order of the things that I want to talk through, but I also at the same time, as always, want to acknowledge and talk through the comments. So we will talk about Neo. I expected that they would have good results, and I actually bought a few more, just 2, but I bought 2 more shares of Neo today. I've been so busy doing other things, I've not actually seen how we're about to see together how the market reacted to it. Well, I guess I think that the earnings report came out this evening, so the stock market was already closed. So it'll be an interesting thing to see, either maybe aftermarket or tomorrow, how things turn out there. Yep, me too. XPing as well. It's probably another one to look into. I would just say XPing, Neo, and Tesla, all 3 of those would be, any one of them or the multiples of them would be great additions to your portfolio. I definitely agree with that. Okay, so I want to also talk about another really interesting website / app, and I'm going to switch to it now. This is BitPay, and again, I know we all have different experiences. We all have, it's just like Robinhood, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Robinhood tonight because I saw a really good tweet that I actually agreed with, that put some positive, gave some positive vibes, if you will, to Robinhood. They don't pay me or anything to say anything good or bad about them, but nonetheless, but with BitPay, of course, they're used commercially or from a business perspective, like we've actually talked about a number of times, to facilitate merchants being able to, to be able to take, or at least allow their customers to pay for the goods and services with a number of cryptocurrencies, and one of those is Dogecoin. So that's what's super exciting. I won't repeat it all, but the Houston Rockets now can take Dogecoin. Mavericks can. There is a dealership in Houston that actually sells the most expensive production car in the world, a Bugatti, which is in the millions of, I don't know exactly how much it costs. You literally could buy one of those with Dogecoin. I would love to hear about the first one that has. But there's a personal aspect of BitPay as well, where you can, basically set it up, get a wallet, and then I've found that this is a really cool way to get paid or to get tipped in Dogecoin. And I actually got my first tip the other day, and Dogecoin tip. And the coolest thing in the world was to see that 75 Dogecoin, when I received it, was worth $19, and then the next day it was worth 24 because Dogecoin was performing well, even though it was a penny or a penny and a third or whatever. It makes a difference. So you might want to look into BitPay. If you have a business, you might want to look into BitPay. From what I understand, at least, let's say you have an Etsy store or a Squarespace, any kind of websites, you can basically also have a BitPay button, just like you could have with PayPal. And the cool thing about that, obviously, is you can, help your customers spend those cryptocurrencies. And we all know, I think, that we're starting to find, and many, many people, that have influence, I would say, in the financial community, are starting to basically legitimize Dogecoin by, number one, putting it on their exchanges. I just heard of a new exchange today, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Well, the exchange is not new. They're new to me, but they've just recently begun to list Dogecoin. I was on a Twitter Spaces. It's basically Twitter's version of Clubhouse for almost 2 hours, where this OKCoin hosted that. There were a number of YouTube influencers and others that were asking questions, and a lot was being answered. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But BitPay is really cool, and I think it's something you might want to look into, whether you're at a personal level or at a business level. Another thing I want to talk about real quick is being able to be paid in Bitcoin, your paycheck. So this is a company called Zap, and I need to find my link, but I think I will just put it in here because I think I have it. Zap Strikes, yep. So let me find, here we go. There is let me do this. Pay me in Bitcoin. I may have to look it up and find the actual link, but I've already talked about this a little bit. There's a number of football players, for example, that are saying they want to get paid in Bitcoin, and this company Zap is helping facilitate that. And actually, as a individual, I'll find the link a little bit later, but as an individual, even, you can get on a waiting list. And I guess what they do is they basically intercept the check that that would normally go to your bank. They somehow do that, and then you get paid in Bitcoin. You can get paid in Ethereum. You can get paid in a number of different cryptocurrencies, and you can pick the amount that you get paid. All right, so let's see what kind of comments we've got here. Yep. More about XPing. That's true. That is very true. I think that there's some promising things to be talked about there. Okay, so let's look at Dogecoin. Let me get up what I wanted to talk about first, and then we'll do that. So I'm just going to use my Twitter feed to be able to facilitate pulling up a few things. There was the BitPay, so you can use that. If you're following me on Twitter, you'll see this. If you're not, you can follow me on Twitter at Shane Trammel. So that's up in the top right, Shane Trammel. You can follow me there. And so here's another little thing real quick about the football players at least getting paid, which I thought was cool. So Jack Mahlers, I believe, is one of the founders of Strike or Zap. And it says, Sean is an incredible football player, financial mind, and leader. I'm humbled and honored that Strike is a part of his story. I'm going to actually follow that. So congrats, brother. History will look back favorably on your conviction and willingness to act on what you believe in. So again, the cool thing about this is even if your company or even if a National Football League team doesn't have it all together and can't facilitate that, on their own, then you've got someone like Zap that can. Okay, more about Sean. That's pretty cool. So, basically, this was kind of neat. So Sean is, basically saying that Russell Okung was, a trailblazer, right? So after Okung made headlines by converting half of his salary, which they didn't say, but it's a $13 million, I think, salary, into Bitcoin last year, and nearly doubling his money. That's the cool thing, right? The chief, Sean Culkin, has elected to have his full salary, $920,000, upcoming salary converted to Bitcoin. So I thought that was really cool. Here is the comment I wanted to bring up about Robinhood. I really thought that this was made sense, and this is from Billy Marcus, which is the co-creator of Dogecoin. And he says, I want to put some respect on Robinhood app and Vlad Tenev, which is the founder or co-founder. Consider that they took a chance on Dogecoin when places like Coinbase didn't, and Coinbase still hasn't. I think everyone expects that they're going to. We have talked and shown in some of our live streams, evidences that would lead anyone to believe that looked at it that they're going to eventually list it. But not only has Coinbase decided not to list it yet, or wasn't really in a hurry, it doesn't seem like, to list it. You would be paying fees, which some people are okay with because of the other services they offer, but you would be paying fees to do so. With Robinhood, you're not paying any fees. And, again, there are some other things that Robinhood, has done in the past that have some people just like, I'm never going to use them again. But let's be real. They don't charge you anything. Some argue that the spread, that you're impacted by the spread, and in a sense, there is a built-in cost to doing it. But I've got to believe, and from everything I've understood, it's still cheaper in the end than what you would pay on Coinbase. There may be other reasons you want to be on Coinbase, so I'm not hating on Coinbase either. I'm just saying I do not see myself having a Coinbase account that I actually use, to be honest with you, at this point in time. I do have an account. There may be the occasion, and I'll get to it in a minute, but I now use Voyager as well, and the other altcoins that I wanted to invest in, I can get on Voyager, and I can earn interest on Voyager as well. So, and I'm actually doing that. So I'm earning interest on Voyager, and I'm also earning interest on BlockFi. So let me finish reading this. Considering that they took a chance on Dogecoin when places like Coinbase didn't for years, consider that this whole run wouldn't likely have happened without them having taken the chance. They saw something in Doge. So I've not done I've not traced the history of Dogecoin on exchanges at this point in time. It would be a good thing to do just for my own information because I'm curious and all that. But from what I understand, Robinhood has made Dogecoin available for a number of years, and maybe they were one of the first. So now, although there are now other exchanges, and I'll show you actually that in a minute. We'll go back to one of the websites and can show you the breakdown. Actually, that's what I'll do right after I kind of finish talking this through. But Robinhood, I agree, probably made this a large contributor of why Dogecoin is where it's at right now, as far as people buying it, selling it, using it, all that stuff. So another response, Marcus, says, now, of course, wallets would be wonderful. We know they're working on them to really unlock the potential of a cryptocurrency that is built to be sent around. It is, right? We all know that it's starting to be used. I was telling you that I got it 75 Dogecoin as a tip, and that was just actually made my week, my month. It was just really cool. And we shouldn't stop wanting that. But I think the narrative is a bit too harsh on Robinhood probably. But anyway, all things in perspective. That all being said, if the wallets don't ever come, I'm going to be like, yeah. This was earlier, or after I had found this tweet. I have not seen this until just now, drilling down on it. Here's another interesting thing. I'm actually grateful of not having the wallet in the first place, or else it would be included to give away to the scam cloud mining website. It is for the better while understanding the value of what we are holding. So, as true as that may be, there is some inherent risk, I guess, with wallets, and you got to be careful about which ones you get. But ultimately, the problem with, Robinhood, again, not a problem that doesn't sound like it's going to not be resolved, but I'm stating the obvious, but, you at some point maybe want to sell what you've got there or use what you've got there. And you have no way of doing that right now, other than to liquidate either all or a portion of it, transfer that money somewhere else, and then use it. And those transfer times on Robinhood, again, maybe something that's not so positive about Robinhood is I've heard that the transfer time sometimes can be up to 14 days. I'm not talking about business days, but 14 days. I'd be curious to know if any of you guys listening have transferred any money out and what your experience was. I have yet to pull any money out. So I want to go back to our lovely Coin Market Cap website. I'm going to drill down on Dogecoin, and I want you to see the exchanges that are listed with regards to the percentage of, it's down here towards the bottom. And what I don't understand, honestly, is where Robinhood is. Well, I shouldn't say I don't understand. I know Robinhood, from what I understand, they're not an exchange. I don't think they hide the fact that they're not an exchange. What can be hard to find, though, is which exchanges they use. I hear that there's two different ones, and I don't even remember what they are. And honestly, I don't care. For those that do care, it should be easy to find. I would agree with that. But I personally don't care which ones they're using. It would be nice for more transparency to know and to truly compare against other things. But I digress. So by volume, Binance is considerably bigger than the next one, and it's even bigger when you consider that there's a number of these different Okay, this is the pairs. So I guess let's just look at it in USDT. 24%. It's pretty crazy. And that is 1 trillion. Am I looking at that right? No, sorry. 1 billion. So 1 billion. I know it's not 1 trillion because there's not that many in circulation. And then we've got QOB Global, which I don't really know a lot about, and then another Binance in a different pair. Gate.io, not very familiar with them. Binance USA, I am familiar with. It's really interesting to look at this and to see the disparity, if you will. The volume is considerably less. So that tells me, I believe it tells me, it seems to be, that it tells me that at least for Binance, it's not near as many people buying Dogecoin, obviously, through them as throughout the rest of the world. Because if you're in the United States, you have to use this, I guess, unless you were using, or if someone might be using a VPN, but I certainly would not recommend that. I don't know why anybody would do that. The only reason I can think of, and again, I don't advocate it, but I can't use Binance US. I live in Texas, and it's not available to me. Kraken is another one that I like their interface. I don't actually have a Kraken account yet. Qcoin as well. I like what I see there, and I'm assuming that that OKCoin will be on here at some point. Again, I think they really just recently listed Dogecoin, but go check them out. Bittrex is another one that I've hear about. I've never even actually gone. Excuse me. Never actually even gone to their exchange. So anyway, enough said here. This shows you that the top one, basically what I wanted to show, is that Binance is far and away the largest. Want to get into next, but I'm going to look at the comments. Want to get into next this thought of decentralized inherited crypto. In other words, think for a moment when you want to leave your cryptocurrency to your family. I hate to talk about this in one sense, but it is a reality of life. When someone passes, if they're going to leave assets like most people do, whether that's money, real estate, property, all the different things, jewelry, all of that, that's all pretty straightforward. But with if you have those kinds of things in a wallet and you're the only one that has that information and all that, there's not, I don't think, any easy way yet, or at least it was a topic that was brought up on this Twitter Spaces, session that I was on. So it was a really interesting, intriguing thought. So going to go back to the comments here, and do want to hear from you tonight, see what's going on. TJ, hey, how's it going? Happy, I can't even talk, 100th show. Hey, thanks, my friend. You also should think about getting in on this free watch. I've got a black one as well. I'm going to tell you guys here a little bit later how to get in on the free thing. I'm going to give one away today. Once I actually pick the winner, you can have the choice of the white or the black, and then I'll give whichever one's left, I'll give that one away a different night. So looking forward to being able to do that. I've been talking about giving away these watches for, probably 2 months. Started out at about probably episode 35, found Flex Watches, I sent a Twitter or an Instagram message to basically the co-founder of Flex Watches. They were actually on the show The Profit. They had kind of veered away from their roots, and they weren't making as much money as they had in the past, weren't performing as well. And so the Prophet came in and he said, hey, I like the fact that you used to basically give 10% of what your company is making to all these amazing causes. And so the one thing that that they definitely brought back was that. So they give 10% of what they make to, wounded warrior, not wounded warrior, but things like that for service people in the military, or water, for places where clean water is a problem, and a lot of different other resources. And I also will apologize. It looks like my internet is acting up a little bit, so I may be fuzzy, and I apologize, but hopefully at least the audio is coming through good. I know I also struggled with the audio last night. I literally, for 98 episodes, had almost no problems with the technical issues, and then last night we had a storm, and I've not been able to basically get everything back the way that it was. But anyway, you eventually pull money out of your accounts. Don't tell my wife. Yeah. So Mad Dog, are you talking about Robinhood? But not sure. So let's talk about this thought of decentralized inherited crypto. I'm curious again whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching the replay. I promised the guy that was talking about it on the Twitter Spaces feed, if you will. And by the way, that's a pretty cool thing that Twitter's put out there. It looks a lot like Clubhouse, so they did not worry too much about copying it. So I mean, it looks a whole lot like Clubhouse, but nonetheless, honestly, I think it's probably do just as good or better. And it came out on Android and iOS, so that's one advantage I think over Clubhouse. I think Clubhouse is only still on iOS, and it's also coming to the web interface. So if that happens as well, then I think they'll actually start gaining some ground on Clubhouse. And for a lot of us, since we already have a following on Twitter, if you're working towards getting building a brand and being an influencer, quote unquote, that type of thing, then I think that this Twitter Spaces is going to be amazing. I probably sent out 10 direct messages, trying to connect with folks that were on there. So I think it's going to be great. And so since I was on there, there was a guy that was talking about this concept of making it easier to basically will and then transfer your crypto to your heirs, to those that you're passing it on to. So if anybody on the stream has ever had to think through that, I'd be curious to know what conclusions you came to, what solutions there might be out there. I'm just curious. Hey Sebastian, how's it going, my friend? Thanks for joining. We're giving a watch away, by the way, so I'll talk about that again here in a minute, but we're going to be doing that. So thanks for joining. No, not really. We were just talking about, I was talking about a tweet that was put out there by the co-founder of Dogecoin, and he was basically saying, hey, Robinhood gets kind of a bad rap, and he was basically saying, had Robinhood not embraced Dogecoin back in the day when they did, we might not be even where we're at here right now. It may not be near as accessible as it is now, and all that. So he's basically just trying to give them some props. And of course, the funny part about it was, in one sense, he's like, but we want wallets. And then there was a follow-on that I had not seen until I showed it here live, a follow-on from, again, the Dogecoin, co-creator. He's like, but in essence, you better release a wallet or I'm going to be super, super mad. But we all know that they're going to, right? They've already announced it. We just don't know when. So I'll say the same thing I did last night. Robinhood, hey, for some reason, if you're watching this, anyone from the Robinhood app, if you're watching this, let us know. When are you going to release it, or at least when do you believe you're going to release it? We'd love to know. Yeah. Oh, I gave my okay. I see. I gave my I gave my wife all the passwords and info to my crypto accounts. Yep. There you go. So another thing that's interesting that I'm thinking about, because we're mentioning this, I looked today and I didn't find anything yet, or anything solid. But I started thinking, what about a college fund in crypto? Obviously you can just save the money, and it's going to, hopefully, if you pick the right ones, appreciate a whole ton of a lot. And so that's not the issue for me. The issue that I was, you're really looking for is something where you could get some tax benefits, right? Because if you have a 529 plan, and there's a couple of other types of plans where there's some benefits tax-wise, if you're truly going to use that for allowable, allowable expenses, if you will. Sorry about that. My light just went out. And for example, tuition, books, that type of thing. We did a 529 plan for our 2 boys, got 2 girls as well. Haven't actually done a 529 plan for them, so need to do a little bit of catching up, and I would like to find something that I can do with crypto. Let's see. So if we have money with Robinhood from Doge, would we have to get a Doge wallet to transfer out funds from Robinhood? So I'm curious, for one, if you have a Robinhood account. If you don't, I'm going to put a shameless plug out there and say, please consider using the link that's in the description here. But I'll answer your question. If you needed to get out what's in there right now, at least with crypto, you'd have to sell it first. You'd have to liquidate, and then you'd have to transfer the money into a banking account, and then from there, do whatever you're going to do with it. So if you were going to, if you wanted to buy a different crypto or move some of it to a different account, like a Coinbase account, Voyager account, Webull account, all of that kind of stuff, you wouldn't be able to do it. Or if you wanted or I'm going to make this a joke to a certain extent, or if you wanted to do like a super kind person did, I'll leave them anonymous because they may not want to be mentioned. But if you wanted to donate, for example, or tip, I should say, someone like myself in Dogecoin, you wouldn't be able to do it. And by the way, what I just pulled up there, that QR code, that's my Dogecoin wallet on BitPay. So this is a good opportunity to show you exactly what I'm talking about with regards to, if you got a BitPay account, you could receive Bitcoin, you could receive Dogecoin, you could receive Ethereum, USDC, a couple of others. So, there any of the ones that they support, you could have that come into your account. So, but for now, until they basically come up with what they're calling, they're not typically, when they're tweeting about it, they're not typically using the term wallet, but that's ultimately what they mean. In the tweet, they talk about basically deposits and withdrawals, because if you look at most of the other platforms, I'll just use the term platforms, or exchanges where you can buy and sell Dogecoin, they truly have wallets, so you can transfer things in, transfer things out, and with the wallet, use Dogecoin to buy Bitcoin, or use Bitcoin to buy Dogecoin, all those kinds of things that wallets give you the flexibility to do. So if you have money in Robinhood or crypto in Robinhood, and you want to get it out or need to get it out, you're going to have to just liquidate it and then transfer it to your bank account. So that's what's going on with that. Okay, so you do have a Robinhood account. Cool. So do you have, Sebastian, 2 things, if you don't mind me asking. I'm my channel's still small enough that I can normally remember the regulars, since I get to see your names pop up. Just curious if this is your first live stream to join, and whether it is or not, I want to welcome you. But if it is your first time to join the stream, I'd like to ask, if you don't mind, how did you find the channel? Did you search on YouTube? Was it suggested? Did you find us on Twitter? I would be really curious. I just want to cash out. I see. So the wallet is to transfer to coins and such. Yes. So if you just want to cash out and if you just want dollars, then you're good to go. Honestly, you just sell it and then you transfer the money wherever to whatever bank that you have set up to be connected with it. So that's it. Hey, thanks again, Sebastian. I'm glad you joined a couple of days ago. Thanks for watching the previous episodes or reruns, the replay. Thanks a million. Hey, I hope you'll turn on notifications if you haven't. That way you'll know better when we go live the next time. I'm holding though till we. Okay, well, good. So you're not cashing it. That's perfect. I'm glad to hear that. And you may find that. Once the wallets are available, it's possible that if you wanted to consolidate with a wallet, the cool thing about it is for whatever reason, if you were ready to get off of the Robinhood platform, you could then transfer it to Webull is another one that I like. I actually used Webull today to get some more Neo. That's a stock, so we're talking, mostly obviously about Dogecoin, but we do talk about stocks here, not an exhaustive list. I mostly talk about the ones that I'm following that are either on my wish list or those that are in my portfolio. And so Neo is one of those. And I bought a couple of shares. I had transferred again to open up the account and get a free stock. I transferred $100 into there and it had been sitting there. I was planning on buying Dogecoin with it, but at least me personally, I'm looking for another dip. It may never come. It may never go any lower than it already is, which is now 31 cents. But my guess is that it's going to. We'll see. But my guess is we're going to see another dip at some point. I'm not saying this week. I'm not saying next week. I don't know when we'll see the next dip, but I'm looking to get some more, at 25. If it gets back down to 25, I'm getting more. I'd prefer to get more at 21 or 17 or something like that. But yeah, I'm not saying that's bad at all. My average, unfortunately, and it's a long story why I even say that, but my average is 35, or maybe it's 34 now because I bought some more. At a little bit lower price than the 35. I bought some more at 25, I believe. So, but nonetheless, my average is at 35 cents. So I'm looking to dollar cost average and get some more. I could do it right now, to your point, but I'm happy at this point in time with what I have, knowing I want more, and also investing in other crypto. And maybe we'll talk about that for a minute. And then come back to Dogecoin. Hopefully we've got some more people that are going to be joining here soon. But, I've been kind of on my wish list, at least, Cardano and XRP. And the more and more I think about it, I think between those two, I'm not so certain that I will be investing in XRP, although I think it has all kinds of possibilities. I think Cardano, in many ways, probably has more upside because of the use case for it and some of the things that they're actually rolling out and all of that. So I see myself getting into Cardano soon, which is ADA for anyone that doesn't know that. And we'll pull up the charts here in just a minute. But I would say, although this is not financial advice, I would say take a hard look at Cardano. It's still, or Cardano, some people may say it that way. It's still, cheap enough that most people can afford to buy, a few hundred maybe dollars of it or so. So that's probably my next altcoin. I've owned Ethereum in the past. I've owned, fractional shares of Bitcoin in the past. I also plan on, heavily considering putting some Bitcoin into BlockFi and although you earn less quote unquote interest there, you still earn interest. It's still appreciating, all the things. There is a YouTuber, big YouTuber for that matter, called his YouTube channel is called Meet Mike. Let me know in the comments or the description if you've ever been to his channel. So I'm going to give him a shout out. And hey, Mike, if you ever see my show here, I would love to collaborate with you. But he has an episode or one of his live streams where he talks about his plan with Bitcoin, his investment plan with Bitcoin, and he actually has quite a bit with Robinhood, but since he can't transfer it out at least right now, and he doesn't want to take a tax hit from doing it, he's going to leave what he has in Robinhood and invest. And I get some of these things may be too rich for some of our bloods. It's certainly for mine, but he's going to take $1 million, put it into BlockFi, and with the interest and all the things, he's going to make almost $7,000 a month in interest income. Now, the one thing you have to keep in mind about the interest income, but it would be no different than if you were earning a healthy interest rate from a traditional bank, is that's going to be subject to regular income tax. I'm pretty sure that it is, right? So I say regular. I guess it's possible that income from an asset like a house or something like that, even the short-term capital gains may actually be a little bit higher than your personal income tax rate. I'm not sure. I need to look into that. I'm actually going to write that down if you guys don't mind. So keep the comments coming, and we've got more things to talk through, but I want to write that down before I forget about it. Okay. So yeah, that's really good. I highly recommend that you go check out Meet Mike. I'm hoping he will return the favor one day, but we're here to just provide value. So if I don't ever hear from him, that's perfectly fine. But another one that I really like is is Cryptos Are Us. If you guys haven't ever been to that YouTube channel, I really like it. The guy's name is George, and he basically says, "I'm George, we're all George." That's the way he opens up every one of his live streams, and he live streams twice a day. They're really informative. He's even talked about Dogecoin some, but he talks a lot about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and he seems very knowledgeable about all of these. Many of the other up and coming projects, quote unquote, like Solano is another one that I hear a lot of people talking about. So I think what we'll do next is I want to tell everybody, we're an hour in, so I want to tell everyone that's interested in winning this watch, and we'll bring it up again here in just a minute, but if anyone is interested in winning this watch right here from Flex Watch, it's not $1,000 watch, I'm not, but nonetheless, if you're interested in winning that, basically go to this website. I'm going to put it in the comments and then I'll show it, but it's https strammel.com/flex strammel.com/flex. So I'm going to put that in the chat. I'm also going to put it here in a this banner real quick. Win a watch. And once you've gone to that website, it's basically it's a tool that I use for landing pages for emails. So you will be subscribing to my email list. I won't be spamming you or whatever. But it's ConvertKit, and actually, by the way, in the link in my description, you can get ConvertKit for free. And if you're wanting to build an email list of your own, maybe you have a business, maybe you just have a personal brand that you want to further establish, you can get ConvertKit for free. Use it for up to 1,000 subscribers for free. But do that, and I am using what's called dual authentication. So you are going to, if you fill in your name, your first name, email address, country that you live in, and you'll get a confirmation email. You confirm that, and then you're in. And then I'm going to send everyone that gets into that a way that they can get some extra entries. So, starting to get some comments, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, I don't know, Sebastian, that it's your internet. It could be mine. Like I said at the beginning, I'm using StreamYard, and it has an indicator telling me when the network is kind of bad. So I apologize. It's probably on my end. So I really do apologize for that. EV, Mad Dog, what are you trying to say? Electronic vehicles? You want to talk about that for a minute? Maybe? Are you giving me a hint? Let's go to that for a minute and kind of talk about it. And by the way, this is the Webull desktop app. I kind of always mention that, especially for those that maybe are not familiar with it. And if you don't have a Webull account, again, I have a link in the description. Surprise, surprise. But you can get up to 2 stocks. It's 2 or 3, but anyway, that's 2 stocks valued up to $1,850. So that's an amazing deal as far as I'm concerned. And not only that, you can get 10 more stocks. I don't know about the value part of that, but up to 10 more stocks if you if you do some referrals, if that's something you like to do. And by the way, if that's not something you like to do, you're more than welcome to share my link. But so if you sign up, I get a free stock. I believe that's the way it works, and you get a free stock. So it's pretty cool. And as you can see right here, well, you can't see it. Let me move my picture-in-picture for a minute, or I'm just going to turn it off here for a minute. Although it's pretty small if you're on a phone, but on a computer, it's probably better. You can see I can click buy Dogecoin right there. So we will just back on the 14th, or I believe it was the 14th, or no, it was Doge Day, 420. It was available to everyone. They had been doing it in beta for other people, but Dogecoin has now been on their platform for everyone for now 9 days. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, it's enough about Webull, but check it out if you don't have one. As you can see right here, Dogecoin is at 31.26, and this is the 1 minute chart. If we look at the 1 hour chart, which I like to do a lot of times because it's easier to see generally speaking, the kind of trend, and in many ways, again, it's been super flat, or some people will say trading sideways. I mean, we're talking about maybe a penny difference at times, and I'm potentially over exaggerating because I'm not going to click on each one of these, and I can't literally watch it all day long, have a regular job like many of you probably do as well. But typically what I've seen, now that I've been following Dogecoin and now that I'm aware of this concept of the whales, what I've discovered typically is the whales get involved and they're buying and selling enough and there's enough of them with enough quantity that they're buying and selling and pretty much keeping the price at relatively the same. I've talked about this at length in some of the other previous episodes, so definitely go back and watch the playlist, Dogecoin playlist, or the 100-day playlist. I would even say go back, way back to the beginning, go to the playlist section on my channel, go to 100 days, and although probably actually for the first 80 days, I didn't talk about cryptocurrencies or stocks or anything, but one of the other things that I do is help people with digital marketing, all kinds of different things for small business, for entrepreneurs and all that. So I talked a ton about those kinds of things for over 80 days. I just got the bug almost 3 weeks ago now with regards to Dogecoin first. That really brought me into studying cryptocurrencies more and all of those kinds of things. And so Let me move that. And so I think that really proves the narrative that you hear when you hear Mark Cuban say the kind of things that he's said on Ellen and others that are saying that it is a good Dogecoin. That is, it is a good way to introduce people to cryptocurrency, and it's kind of cool that not only can you be introduced to cryptocurrency through Dogecoin, it's fun. It can actually and has shown to appreciate in value. You can use it to actually buy goods and services. Actually, you can buy the most expensive production car in the world. So pretty cool. So again, we go back all the way. I mean, a day ago, right? And it was doing pretty good that day, the 28th, as we all know, and then the 29th comes around. And if you've been watching it much today, you know that it's been pretty flat. I'm obviously hoping that we're going to see a increase tomorrow. Now, the one thing that I believe is a point of insight that you guys can use, if it's not something you already are aware of, and I'll actually put the link here in just a second in the chat. But there is a way that you can go watch what the whales are doing. The top 100, the day or the morning. So Elon Musk, his tweet, Central Time, United States Central Time, was at about 1:20 a.m. in the morning. And literally got to see, just prior to that, it went down to 25. In a blink of an eye, it went up to, what was it? Yeah, 34 or whatever. Stayed there for a while, right here. And then it started working its way back down. And I would suggest that the whales got back involved here to keep it on an even keel. What seems to be the case, what seems to be the pattern, is these whales will buy and sell to try to keep at a level price and, to accumulate. And then they can do this all the way up to $1, whatever it is. But what I understand, based upon studying this normal behavior and other, even used to be in Bitcoin, from what I understand, this quote unquote manipulation, and at some point the volume gets to such a point where they can't manipulate it as much. But as Elon Musk has said, that's not going to happen until the whales either decide to get out completely in some cases, or sell off a significant portion of their holdings. Now, really interesting thing today. I'm going to leave this very, not going to reveal anything, if you will. I'll just talk about it without names or anything. But again, was on the Twitter, whatever Twitter calls their Clubhouse thing. It just escaped me. Spaces, Twitter Spaces, on a call. I kind of think of it as a call because it's only audio, and someone identified themselves as a whale. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I don't personally think, and then I'm going to get off this subject, I do tend to talk about it at least a little bit every night. I don't see this as a bad thing. Some people do. I'll just ride the wave with them. I think they actually can do us a favor, in the sense of allowing, there's enough to go around for most of us to be able to get in and get more and more in dollar cost average. Maybe we got started late in this, but there's still an opportunity. If you're just getting started, if you don't have any Dogecoin, if you're watching this right now, and this is your first introduction to Dogecoin, I would say that there may be a dip, but I would say don't be afraid to get in now. Just know that it could go down. And so the way you deal with that is you take a long view approach, right? You hodl, you hold on for dear life. There's a couple of different approaches. You could be a day trader, someone looking to make quick short-term profits. Nothing wrong with that, but that takes a certain amount of skill. I would argue it takes time. You need to be either watching it physically or setting up alerts and automatic orders, all those kinds of things to protect yourself from losing too much, and then you obviously don't want to give up some, but you may want to set a limit, sell, and all those kinds of things. That's one approach. Another approach, the approach that I prefer, and then there's a hybrid. I actually prefer the hybrid, what I'm about to say, but I'll talk about the other approach first, which is just to say, get in, buy some, buy more in the dips, and ride it all the way to the top. And so you're buying in the dips so that you can do what's called dollar cost averaging. And that has worked for numerous people for decades, right? And the stock market works in the cryptocurrency market as well. With Dogecoin being in the top 10 market cap, I don't think that I don't see Dogecoin going away now. I mean, it could, right? But in other words, I think it's here to stay. And so the real question becomes is, what is its floor that it's never going to go under again? Is that 20 cents? Is it 25? Is it 30? I mean, I'm not suggesting that Dogecoin is Bitcoin, but we've seen how far Bitcoin dipped, right? And so it's possible. And I think another thing to think about, and then I'll describe what I think is this hybrid approach. But before I do that, I want to talk about volatility versus risk. I think that there is some differences between those two. Obviously, volatility is the rapid and extreme at times change in price, either up or down. Now, if you're in it for the long haul and you believe that wherever it's at today, that it's going to be significantly higher in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, then those swings should not bother you. Actually, they should be good, at least the dips, right? Because again, if you have more money to use or more money to invest, buy more. I would also say diversify those. So use that same approach, those same skills, that same methodology, but don't put everything in Dogecoin. As much as I love it, as much as I think it's great, as much as I know, as much as I'm definitely aware that it's literally made millionaires, I also know that people have lost money because of the approach they've taken. So don't put everything in it. Diversify not only within cryptocurrency, but I would also suggest that you diversify into some stocks, and we're going to actually talk about a few stocks here in just a minute. So the second, or the hybrid approach, and I've got some regulars on this channel that take this approach, and I think it's a very legitimate approach, which is to say, definitely it's ultimately a hold long position on Dogecoin, but taking a portion of your profits and buying more so that you're incrementally, not only are you buying in the dip, right, but you're also at some point at a good point of gain, selling some to take profit. And so instead of having to bring outside money in to get more, you would use that profit to buy more. And in many cases that increases your average price, but you've got more Dogecoin or more Ethereum or whatever it is that you're investing in. So I'm going to go back to the comments because I can't see the comments when I'm on one of these long kind of discussions, but I do want to see what people have to say. So, hey, Manny, how's it going, my friend? Thanks for joining. I only have 22 coins, but hey, who knows? Yep. I don't think it'll become like Bitcoin. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer. I think it has its own unique place to be in the cryptocurrency space. I don't think it will ever be like Bitcoin with regards to being 60,000, for example. Bitcoin's going to 200,000, maybe a million within the next 5 to 10 years. Likely, may not happen, but likely. Dogecoin will never be at 60,000. It'll never be at 100,000. It'll never be at a million because, again, of the way that it's designed. It's designed more so to be a current, in essence, a currency, something to be used, similar to the U.S. dollar or whatever, whatever currency you use. Because I know we have people from other parts of the world here. It's quicker to use. In other words, transactions cost are considerably less than Ethereum, for example, or Bitcoin for that matter. It's faster as far as the transactions, and even the inflationary design of it is there on purpose. So even though this is the amazing thing, right? Even though this coin was created originally as a joke, as it turns out, you know, obviously, I guess they had some intent of what they thought it should be if it wasn't a joke. I think they created it for it to have utility with regards to everyday buying of goods and services. Now, can it make you a millionaire just like Bitcoin has made millionaires or billionaires? I think it can. I think that if you want to become a millionaire, though, obviously at this point in time, you're going to have to put more money in, and for some that's scary. For some that's too much risk, and I completely get that. I completely understand that. It's like anything else. At some point, it's going to get to where, let's say it's $1, right? If it's at $1, then obviously it's going to take more for you to get more. And if the ceiling, the practical ceiling is 100, then I mean that's still 100 times your investment. But if you get in now and it goes to $1, then you can do the math. So I honestly used to, because I was so excited about all this, so excited honestly about the potential for how it could appreciate, and we're all different and we're all wired different. I'm honestly less into the meme, and I enjoy seeing them. I'm not one that would create a lot of them. So if that makes sense. In other words, I love seeing the creativity. I talk about it all the time on this stream. When I'm looking at Twitter, mostly is the way I see things about Dogecoin. The creativity is just totally amazing. That's not my thing. My thing is, yes, I like the fact that I can use it to buy things. I like more the aspect of life-changing money. So for those that are willing to get in now, or that did get in when it was half a penny, when it was 5 cents, 7 cents, even now, think you can make some good money at it, but you have to decide at some point, are you in it to win it? Do you have confidence in it, or do you not, right? So that's one of the things, but I digress. But I'm glad you have 22 coins. That's good. Might want to consider getting some more. AMC to the moon. Yeah, I've not invested any in AMC, but I hope that it does well for you. I really do. And Apple as well. I personally am not convinced that Apple has, over the last couple of years, innovated as much as they have in years past. I think that the M1 architecture and then the M2 architecture that I think already on the way, those are revolutionary in many ways. So we'll see. But I could be wrong, and I'm willing to be wrong. I think Apple has seen its heyday come and go, unless they do some other amazing things. But don't get me wrong. I love my iPhone. I love Macs. I love everything that they've got out there. I'm just trying to be real with regards to what I think the broader market expects. I think there are many other things that have a much better upside, but some things we can be into because we like the product and we like the company. Nothing wrong with that. That's the good thing about all this. We get to make our own decisions. I don't have to make you feel good, bad, or either one, right? This is conversation. And I think it's awesome that you have Apple, but you've been in AMC since 9. Okay. Sorry. I'm just now seeing that part. It's a good price. Yes. Yep. Currently have 5 stocks with them, but thinking about buying 10 more. Oh, 5 more stocks in AMC or Apple? Hey, Manny, if you don't mind, go follow me on Instagram too, and then I will follow you back. I'd prefer not to break away from the stream, but Manny, if you follow me on Instagram at Shane Trammel, I will definitely follow you back. I don't spend as much time over there, but I would like to be connected with all of y'all, anyone watching this on the replay as well. Come follow me at Twitter and Instagram. It's the same thing. It's Shane Trammel, and I will follow you back. I talk to people as well, and some of the things that I've covered in the past with regards to YouTube growth, even though I'm not where I want to be even myself yet. But this thought of sub for sub is to many a no, but I consider each one of you that are spending your time here on this stream as friends, so that's not a sub for sub as far as I'm concerned. I'm golden till 100 to 500, okay? Oh, dollars, yeah. Hey, Aliska, thank you. Yeah, so those of you that are joining kind of mid-stream, today was my 100th live stream in a row, so 100 days in a row. There were days that I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it. There were days where I literally did a 6 or 7 minute video, and that was it. I think even for those 6 or 7 minutes, I didn't just say hi, bye. I mean, I still tried to give value, but in the 6 or 7 minute kind of little things. So it's been an amazing experience, and I never would have thought that at the end of 100 that I was going to say that I'm going to continue on a daily basis, but I am at this point in time. As long as I can, as long as I have something to say, as long as there are people that are willing to come and be a part of the conversation, and as long as people think that I'm providing some kind of value, that I'm going to continue. So thanks, Aliska. And you need to make sure, if you haven't, I'm giving away this watch. So go to strammel.com/flex, and you can enter in to enter the watch. So that'd be great. Do you think it would ever be around 100? I think, okay, that's a really, really good question. And you got to realize, and for those that are watching the replay as well, I'm new to this, like a lot, and there are people that are now regulars on this show that actually know more than I do. So they get the props when I recognize that when it's when they're saying something that's obviously insightful and all of that. But to answer your question from my perspective, I think it has the potential to get to 100. Beyond that, it's hard for me to say. And I think some of that, even to 100, but certainly beyond 100, remains to be seen. I think here's something very, very interesting, and I guess something that could maybe make it approach something like an Ethereum. I still don't think it will ever achieve the same kind of magnitude as far as the price per coin that Bitcoin is. And there's even some that believe that Ethereum may overtake Bitcoin, even though they have, generally speaking, different use cases, or that Bitcoin has ended up being, and I'm going to get to answering your question, but Bitcoin is more of a store of value, more like a digital gold, more like a gold 2.0. There's a number of different ways that it's being described, but it's a store of value. And so what you're not going to find, even though all these things that we talk about, like BitPay and BlockFi and all these kind of things where you can actually buy things with Bitcoin, I think very expensive things, right? Like other expensive assets, maybe people use Bitcoin for. I've said this a number of times. I don't think people are going to buy a hamburger. Don't even think most people that have accumulated a lot of it are going to buy a computer with it, any of those kind of things, because most of those people are still have other investments and things that are generating fiat currency, so they're going to continue to use that, because once you spend that Bitcoin, you've it's not accumulating value anymore. Yes, and at some point, depending on your goals and things, you may cash, quote unquote, some of it out, or you may buy a yacht, right? Or a second home, or use it actually even as collateral. That's the thing from a organization perspective, and some of these innovations, right? And companies that have come along, even like BlockFi. So BlockFi, you might say, well, how in the world can they pay 8% interest? Well, they loan out basically, the crypto and the stable coins and all of that to larger organizations for a period of time. And I don't necessarily understand it all, but there's a big demand for it, and so they've filled the need. But yeah, I think it can make it to 100. But to make it to 100, there's going to be. So let's talk about some of the things, guys. And I'm really curious. I'd like for anyone that's still on live, or if you're watching the replay, you can also join in the conversation in the comments instead of the chat. But what do others that are on think? But I'll tell you what I think. I think things like Amazon deciding or saying that they will take Dogecoin. People like Jeff Bezos actually announcing that he's invested, even if it's an undisclosed amount, or maybe he disclosed it and says, "Hey, I just bought, $100 million worth of Dogecoin." Chick-fil-A, and it sounds silly, right? But Chick-fil-A says now we're going to take Dogecoin. So in other words, from a quote unquote, I'll use retail perspective, I think it's got to be widely adopted and used as a form of quote unquote currency. Now, here's the one thing that I would say though that is likely to hinder that maybe a little bit. I'm just really curious how this is going to work out, because there's a tax implication, right? It's an asset, so you basically have to pay income tax on the appreciated amount of it. I don't even know, with all these multiple different platforms and stuff, how not only how you would keep up with it, but how would these companies keep up with it and services keep up with it if you're using. I use 75 Dogecoin today to do this. I use 100 the next day to do that, and of course with the price changing literally every day, I don't know how that's going to be resolved. But generally speaking, I wonder if that's going to hinder people once they realize that there's a tax implication. Are they going to use their Dogecoin to buy a computer if they're going to have to pay basically their tax bracket or whatever it would be on that? Now, it would only make sense to even consider that if the appreciation of the Dogecoin has at least covered the extra tax that you're going to have to pay. So think that through. 500 is maybe a stretch. 100, I think we can. Ethereum is the way to go if you want quick money for long term. It's Doge, XRP, HBAR. Yeah. What do you think about VeChain though, Sean? I'm like I mentioned earlier, and I think you maybe are just now getting on. It's just me, and I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I'm kind of changing my mind about XRP. With regards to either that or Cardano, and if I'm only going to buy one between the two, I think I'm going ADA or Cardano. That's not to say that XRP doesn't have some amazing use cases and won't emerge as something really super good. But I'm going to say until they're relisted on places like Coinbase and others, which would re-legitimize them, and until they're out of trouble with the SEC, I'm staying away from XRP, although that could be ultimately a mistake. But Cardano, I've started researching them quite a bit, and I still need to research HBAR. I really do, so I want to thank you for bringing that one up, and Doge, obviously, right? So Ethereum is another one that I wish I had bought earlier this week. That would have been an amazing thing, because it's gone up, I think, $500 from its low that it had. Yeah, me too, TJ. 20 would be amazing. I read just the other day, or maybe it was yesterday, that in the month of April, and I might have the number a little bit wrong, but I think in the month of April, there've been 25 millionaires made, with their investment in Dogecoin. Now, I don't really talk about what I'm about to talk about so much, just because it's even disputed more than Dogecoin. But I want to mention it briefly. SafeMoon, from what I understand, has made some people some pretty good money if they got out at the right time. But I think it's 300% down. So this is not about SafeMoon, but it's about being careful, right? And also, so everybody on here right now and in the live has been on a number of my streams, and I know that most of y'all have a good head on your shoulders if you want all that kind of stuff. But if you're getting into this for the first time, just realize that, right? SafeMoon could still end up being an amazing thing, but don't buy when it's 300% up, if you will, and then not expect it to potentially go back down 300% again. Even Dogecoin did that a while back, right? Where it had wasn't as dramatic as when it went up to 48, but it had, I think in 2018 or something like that, maybe 2019, had a nice little bump up, and then it went back down pretty much to where it was and stayed that way for a good period of time. So just be aware, and know that you probably, if you're going to do these kinds of things and expecting a fast dollar, that's going to be more risky than getting into some of these things and just riding it. Spin Doge. Yeah, spin Doge. I'm behind on the comments, so I don't know if someone, TJ, had put that in there or not, but I like that as well. Spin Doge. That's it. Okay. I'm going to write that down right now because I like that tag. I'm going to use it too. Guys, I'm going to ask the shameless thing. If you're up for it, we're already an hour in, but there on YouTube, if you can hit the share button and share it out, I'd love to see some other people come in. But so it just have the same value as $1. So sorry, Sebastian. I'm not sure I really understand what you're asking, but yes, Sean, hit the like button for sure. That helps. It helps. It helps even more if you turn on the notification. Or if I was going to only get one thing from you, I'd say turn on notification, but definitely hit the like button. One other thing, if you don't mind me digressing at least for a minute, because this might be something some of you are interested in. If you either have a YouTube channel of your own or plan on establishing one at some point, which I highly recommend actually that you do, regardless of what you're into or whatever. I think will become an asset to you. But I think an interesting thing is that many YouTube channels actually, when you go and look at your analytics, it's typically 90, as far as viewers, it's typically in the 90% range of those that are not subscribed to your channel that are watching any given video, and then the balance of a full 100% is in the subscribed. But I have to brag, and it's on you guys that I have to brag on, it has nothing to do with me, that since I started talking about Dogecoin, and I'm not just jumping on a bandwagon. I'm invested in Dogecoin. I'm going to be buying more. I'm in it to win it. I'm here to go to the moon and beyond, to Mars and all that. So I'm super excited. Even though, for example, like I said, even though I don't do memes and all that, that doesn't mean that I'm not super keen, on the whole, the whole enchilada with regards to Dogecoin. But my analytics show about 65% of the views are coming from subscribers, and then the rest is coming from unsubscribers. And not only that, another thing that typically that you typically want, and then I'm going to move on beyond this, but if someone's watching the replay and they want to build a YouTube channel, they might be interested in this as well. But the other thing that's important is that you know, search is one way that people can find your YouTube video, and some of the experts say that it'd be better if your YouTube video is suggested by YouTube or is seen in the browse. And I'm happy to say again, since I started down this path in this topic, that browse and suggested has been a higher percentage than it's ever been before. So I'm just super excited about that, and I want to thank you guys and gals for being the reason for it. So would it just have the same value as $1, Sebastian? I'm still I got lost because got so many thoughts going on. If you can, I do want to answer your question. I'll look ahead and see if I can understand what you're asking. But maybe you're asking about if it went to $1. Okay. If that's what you're asking, and I don't want to sound like answering a question that you're not asking, but let's say that you probably know this, but I'll try to answer it anyway. And I'm not suggesting you don't understand this, but if your average cost, let's say, is 10 cents, just to make it easy, right? Your average cost, you bought in way early, and now when you look at it as an average, you've got 100, almost said shares, 100 coins of Dogecoin. You paid 10 cents on average. If it makes it to $1, then you've made a profit of 90 cents per coin, right? And you just do the math. So I don't know if that's what you're asking, but I'm thinking it might be. Hey, Rat Rex, thanks for joining. Good look at the top 100 wallets. Okay, go look at many of the wallets who started in 2014 have not touched a penny, have only traded very little. No, I agree. I've analyzed this in more detail and more depth, and when I was kind of more prepared to do that aspect of it. Maybe we can go to it here again in a minute, but I've actually spent quite a bit of time, and on days when I can, I look at the wallets routinely. And one interesting thing, which you probably already saw as well, is the single largest holder, 28%, I believe it is, and I've never seen that actually change, is they're very inactive. Others of them are super, super active, and others are occasionally active. And it's very obvious that it's programmatic, right? Because you will see at times literally the same amount sold, then turn right around just a few minutes later, literally exactly the same amount bought, literally exactly the same price paid for both buying and selling, and other wallets having programmatic types of activity. It could only be generated, if you will, through a trading system, right, where they can put all that in there, maybe even driven by artificial intelligence. I wouldn't put it, if you've got millions and billions or hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, potentially there is that level of sophistication at their disposal. But as I've said before, I think we can take a ride with them, kind of watch what they're doing, more so to see when we can expect, although it's hard. I wish that I could programmatically analyze what they're doing and then make decisions, because what's hard to know is when they're going to stop. And let me briefly say about that, because I think it's interesting. There's others that have analyzed it, and of course, over several days ago, we're like, okay, this wallet's going to end, or going to be over, or going to run out in 5 days if they continue to do what they're doing. I don't think that when they were analyzing that they ever imagined that they would just start buying again, right? And that's what many of these wallets did. I can go back and look at those, and many of them have basically gone to zero multiple times, and in some cases, a couple of days they didn't do anything, and then they just started buying again. And if it's possible, if it's the case, it's surely possible. But if it turns out to be the case that some of these wallets are individuals, and these individuals know each other, it could not only be programmatic within each of their wallets, but coordinated amongst what they're doing. So anyway, it's honestly almost mind-boggling, but I think we can follow along. And the one other thing I'll say, which it'll be repeating now, but there's new people joining the stream. that fateful day. Was it yesterday now? I lose track of time, but the early morning tweet from Elon about Doge Father. After I was already live streaming, so I didn't see the tweet. Someone on the stream told me about it, which that's what I think is great about this community here. So I went and looked at it, and we briefly went and looked at the top 200 wallets and looked at the timestamps, and none of the 200 during that time period were active. Many of them had stopped, like on the 27th or whatever day it would be the day before, right? And so, really interesting. I don't know if that's is that just coincidental? It seems like it would be very hard for it to be coincidental, but maybe it is. Just followed you on Instagram. Hey, good. Hope you like my artworks. I'm sure I do. So Manny, and maybe I've already asked this. Have you experimented with NFTs yet? And if you have, what platform are you using? You need to put in the chat here if there's a link to a gallery or any place where people can look at your NFTs. And then I'm going to get to all the other comments. We've got a lot of good comments coming through. This is exciting to me. I love this. It's turning out to be a much better evening than yesterday. And TJ, I'm going to get to yours. But Manny, one other thing. Did you see that Ellen DeGeneres, I guess her stick figure thing, I think they were expecting a lot more. Sold for $14,000. I'm going to pull it up a little bit later. But Manny, I'm sure since you're an artist, you must have seen it. But there was a NFT sold, I think it was today, of a Doge cat, I guess, in essence. I think it had a Doge body or Dogecoin kind of body. In other words, that dog, the Shiba Inu, and then it had a cat's face, and it sold for 64,000 Ethereum or something like that, which if that's right, that's 64,000 times, let's say 2,700. So that's a pretty good return. We need to form a Doge lobby going to get Dogecoin treated as an actual currency. Who can do that? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a really interesting thought. And I guess it would be a precedent that would be set, right? Because then there would be the argument to do all the others like that with Litecoin and all the others. So that would be great in one sense. Here's the deal, I think. I would honestly much prefer, well, yeah, it depends on what you're doing. The minute I start to say something, in my mind, I think something else. Let's take Bitcoin for a minute. I would much rather have Bitcoin if I'm really accumulating, using it for store value, waiting until I have, a pretty sizable chunk in dollar terms of Bitcoin with its appreciation and all that. I would much rather that be taxed with the current tax system as long-term capital gains, because in many cases that's going to be less than your tax rate for your earned income. And the richest of the rich, most of them don't have salaries or not much, or even if they do, they don't care because they make so much more with assets or with long-term capital gains, stocks, right? Crypto now, real estate, all those kind of things. And so I think the highest tax that you would pay on long-term capital gains it's either 20 or 25%. And for many, especially the richest of the rich, that's much better than what their earned income tax rate is. And so I guess the smartest of the rich, even if they're maybe a CEO of a company or whatever, they probably take a smaller salary and try to figure out ways to get paid in assets or something. So imagine, that literally just popped in my head. So imagine if you got paid Bitcoin for your salary and you had another way to make enough money to cover quote unquote expenses. And this is exactly what one of these athletes said. They said they were going to use fiat for their expenses, Bitcoin to accumulate. And so any of that money that you were being paid as a quote unquote salary in Bitcoin or whatever, as long as you hold on to it for over a year, you're very, very likely to be paying less taxes on the appreciated value. And oh, by the way, you don't even have to pay that until you actually sell it or use it. So, but it's fascinating. But the one, if you're spending, it would be nice though. A hybrid approach might be if you're spending it on a basket of goods that are considered everyday items, it'd be nice if that was treated as just currency, right? That'd be really cool. Thanks for explaining everything. Okay, hey, thanks. Happy day for 100. Thank you so much, my friend. Thanks for joining. Come back another time. Thanks so much. I don't know. I mean, that's a good question, TJ. I mean, it's a large cap or big cap. I don't know. It's even true for me, right? I just I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, all kinds of others, and you hardly ever hear about Litecoin. But we did see, and I don't know, you probably know this because of what you're doing, TJ, with your sale -- Doge. Is that right? Sale, because I've already forgot, but shop. TJ's Twitter, I want to say, because he was on the other night as a guest, but TJ's Twitter is shop_Doge, and he does a really interesting thing where he basically captures the merchants that are accepting Dogecoin for payment, and also on his website. So go to his Twitter, follow him there, and then you can see his website there. And merchants can also go on his website and self-register, the fact that they're accepting Dogecoin. So that's really, really cool. But I don't know about Litecoin. I don't talk about it either. Anybody? Oh, Mad Dog, you're funny. Is that real? Is that a real thing? Oh my goodness. A few 2013 have done the same. Yeah. So how often, I'm just going to say Rex, if that's okay. Rex, how often do you look at the whales activity? And another thing, since I'll mention, because maybe I'll become known as the person that says this, not because I want to be known for something necessarily, and it's a little bit dangerous to say it because I could certainly be proven wrong, but I'll continue to say this until I can figure out and prove my own self wrong, or someone else can prove me wrong to my level of satisfaction, because of literally because of the whales activity. I'm not sold on being able to use technical analysis against Doge to any level of only looking at that, right? Because that's patterns, that's looking at the past, that's looking at all kinds of statistical things, and I know enough to know, again, because I've been doing statistical analysis in a different realm for 20 years, and when you're forecasting and things, you need to have you have what you call outliers, and the whales activity, unless it's known exactly what they're going to do ahead of time, that's an outlier that you would have to put into your technical analysis in order to see what the coin would do in the absence of their activity. Because there's no way you can. Well, I guess you could. I mean, if you imported into some kind of system all of their activity, and if it had any kind of pattern at all, then you could take it into account. But I'm willing to bet with 100% accuracy, until proven otherwise, that all the folks out there, doing technical analysis on Dogecoin, it's entertaining. Don't get me wrong. But I don't see how it's very accurate, and they're likely not bringing in the data from the whales' activities. But yep, a lot of them holding, that's for sure. Hybrid would be good. Yep. Good night. Come on. You're in California. It's only 10:19 there. I'm joking. Thanks for joining. Come back again. Okay, Jeweler Biz, I would like to accept Doge if I knew how. Okay. Hey, TJ, If you're still here, RatRex for one, go follow TJ at shop_Doge, shop_Doge. Go to his website, and also maybe send him a direct message on Twitter. Connect with me. If you haven't, send me a direct message on Twitter as well, Shane Trammel. Both TJ and myself know, but he's been doing this longer, but you can go to bitpay.com. You can get, there's a few other ways, but I would suggest, because it's probably super easy, go to bitpay.com, and you can sign up as a business, and you can accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, and a number of others. So that's what I would do. Yeah, I mean, these patterns are strange. Yeah. At times they're literally buying 1 Dogecoin, 10 Dogecoin, and then the next time they're buying 10 million. I saw one where they literally sold 78 million, at one time. All right, Mad Dog. Hey, it's I understand. Hope you have a good one. You probably need to get more sleep than 5 hours sleep. I do too, but that's just crazy Doge world, right? And spend Doge. I love that. I love that tag. I'm definitely going to have to use that. So a thought, right? Those of you, whether you're still here live or watching the replay, if you find out about a merchant or a company that's accepting Dogecoin now, tag them, of course, and put out a tweet on it, and then put in the tweet the hashtag Shop Doge and Spend Doge, both, right? Shop Doge and Spend Doge. Those are both good tags. All right. Made more money tonight than yeah, that's great. That's awesome, my friend. So you work for the insurance, right? You work for the insurance. So hey Rex, if you're still on, let me show you real quick, just because I'll show you the BitPay. And they're bringing on new vendors literally every day. So BitPay, and you can go to business right here, and then you might even be able to use just the personal one. I don't know if there's any extra cost. I even on my own account see the option to quote unquote upgrade to business, and I do have a business. My business is, I just really kind of just started it, but Trammel Media, and I've not done much with it yet, but I plan on it. But the thing that you get with the business one, which I know you don't get with the personal, you basically can get a BitPay button, right? Just like you would have with PayPal. And then I don't have to tell you, I don't guess, that, by accepting crypto, you're basically, you're going to be able to, wake up the next morning after someone's paid you for some jewelry or whatever, and let's say they would have paid you $150 US dollars, that the minute you accept it, it's probably worth less money, right? But you accept Ethereum, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, whatever, the next day you wake up and that $150 is actually worth $200, for example. And that's pretty amazing. And not only that, you could then probably transfer that, right, into an interest-bearing thing like BlockFi. Now, BlockFi, I have a link for if you want to check that out. But with BlockFi, you can basically earn money on your crypto or on a stable coin. On BitPay, you can't earn interest that I'm aware of, but on BlockFi, you can. But BlockFi doesn't give you the option to accept payment. So you really kind of have to use a number of these different things together. And that's the beauty of having, like we talked about earlier, that's the beauty of having a wallet where you can transfer something from one place to another. So you could get a lot of it in through BitPay, transfer that into BlockFi, and earn interest while your crypto is earning money. So just for the fun of it, since again I think you came in after I brought up BlockFi, but here's BlockFi, right, where it says put your crypto to work. You can earn up to 8.6 annual percentage yield. I think the Y stands for yield with a BlockFi interest account, and you can earn that interest in tiers with regards to your deposit, and you get paid by the month. You get your interest paid by the month, and then of course you can see here Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, which is a stable coin. You get the most percentage off of the stable coins. You get less of a percent on Bitcoin and Ethereum, but with Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's obviously appreciating in value while it's sitting there. So it's pretty cool. And I'm not interested in it for this, but you can get loans. I mean, so if you need actual US dollars and you need, but you want to keep your crypto, right? That's actually pretty innovative if you think about that. And that is solving a real world business problem where a company, let's say, even has a lot of Bitcoin. I can tell you a lot of them have gone to the bank and said, okay, here's this asset we have. It happens to be Bitcoin. And, they laugh them out of the office, and they're like, okay, that's just not going to work for us. So I think with BitPay and with BlockFi, those two together, you might have a combination that you can use. And thanks for following. By the way, I will follow back. I would really like to know more about your jewelry. So I'm sorry. Yeah. Madden, I'm getting lost on all this. Hold on. So Manny is an artist. So I want to look at your art, Manny. And Rex has jewelry. So Rex, do you make your own or do you sell jewelry from others? I'm super curious. And by the way, I'm more than willing to kind of highlight some of you guys and some of your stuff, in a sense of just saying, hey, you need to look at this. I actually, and I'll bring this up in a minute, I talked to got connected with a guy today that owns started an apparel company called Essex. What is it called? Essex Trading. Let me pull that up real quick because I told myself I was going to. Sorry, that's one part I don't like about that website. I'll be honest. It's got music on it, but let me put in the chat here. I think we're going to do some kind of a sponsorship with them thing and have some apparel, have it on the show, that kind of thing. But I use BigCommerce platform, hoping BigCommerce will work with BitPay. Yes, it will, as far as I know, because the button is probably just like the PayPal button, where it's just got some HTML or whatever kind of code behind it. And so I would be very surprised if it didn't work. And because I know it worked with Shopify, some of the others. So, hey, if you want, I would love for you to do it. It's my channel, so I get to say you can. But if you'll put the link to your store, if you want to, at least, if you put your link to your store here in the chat, that would be great. And everybody, whether you're watching live or the replay, go check it out. Cool. So here is, and I don't know the guy's name, just like it's hard to know y'all's name sometimes, which is fine. But go to Essex Trading. I've sent him I've been texting with him through Twitter, and I've suggested that he, come up with some Dogecoin or some Doge T-shirts and hoodies and that type of thing. I think that would be a big hit. So let's actually now go through, because we kind of have a lull in one sense with regards to our discussion on crypto. So let's take a little bit of a break from crypto and talk about some of the stocks that I like. Coinbase. Oops, sorry about that. Coinbase continues to go down, but there are also people that continue to swear that it is a good place to be. And I would tend to agree, in the sense that, I'm going to change this to the 1 hour, in the sense that, if you want to be basically invested in the cryptocurrency market, but don't want to necessarily own the individual coins, and I'm not suggesting that should be the majority of people. Honestly speaking, I would rather own some of the individual coins because of where they're ultimately going to go. But we also want to be diversified, right, in our total portfolio, and this would be a good way to also, in the form of a stock, be diversified in the cryptocurrency market. So if you're following Coinbase at all, you know that the 52-week high it got up to $429. Even that was not what they were expecting. They were expecting maybe up to 600. A lot of people still believe that's what it should ultimately be valued at. That's just not where it's at right now. I have no idea. Well, I have some idea why it's only at 294, but Ethereum, with regards to the large caps, is certainly a bright story in the sense that it recovered really fast. Bitcoin has not recovered as fast from that crash, if you want to call it that. But anyway, Coinbase is something you may want to look at. Palantir is also something that I think you definitely want to look into. If you're a regular on this live stream, you've already heard me. So at the expense of you, let me just briefly mention to those that are maybe new to the stream, if you haven't heard of Palantir, they work with the government a lot, and I think they also work with regular businesses and NGOs and all kinds of things with really highly sophisticated IT or information technology, and they've been very big into helping with, I think, the COVID vaccine from a data analysis perspective and a lot of those kind of things. But they are getting government contracts, that are worth millions, and I think in some cases, billions of dollars, and getting contracts that none of their competitors would be able to get because Palantir has gone through the due diligence of getting security clearances that others might find difficult to get. And in other words, they've just done all kinds of things. And not only that, they just have really, really good software that others have not been able to replicate. And so they're seen by, again, I use this term a lot, by analysts that know more than I do, that have more time than I do, have more resources than I have, all the things that believe that Palantir is a steal at $23. Its 52-week high was 45, and the target prices, even before this year out, is well above their 52-week high. So Palantir is something you want to look at. I'm going to talk about NEO, and then I'm going to go back and see what kind of comments we have. NEO, surprisingly, I say surprisingly, I would expect, I need to watch it myself, but I know that they had a good earnings report. It was today. It was this evening. I think it was 8 p.m. Pacific, maybe. I don't remember which time zone, but I'm pretty sure it was after the market closed. So the market, in the aftermarket, so we can see, right, in the aftermarket, it went up, well, not too much. I mean, it was at 38.99. It went up 0.5%. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see tomorrow what it does. I have about 6 shares of NEO. I honestly wish I had 1,000. I looked again at the estimates, and I'm gonna talk through a few of those because I do actually think that this is something that I do want to share. It is one. It's. I got this actually from where was it? Capital.com. I don't know a lot about Capital.com, but they basically pulled in the analysis from a number of institutions that's covering NEO, that are doing the analysis and all that. So I'm just going to give you the highlights. But for example, I mean, they're year over year, they are increasing their capacity. They're moving into northern China, which is a part of China that's sparse, that doesn't have as much coverage with regards to EV and all of that. They're moving into Europe, Norway, Oslo. From what I understand, it is the most highly concentrated area for electronic vehicles per capita, at least. So that's interesting. So I want to get to some of the numbers, because this is what is exciting to me. Deutsche Bank has reiterated their NEO stock price prediction of $70. And okay, here we go. This is what I really wanted to say. Forecast puts the share price at an average of 47.24 in April. So this is in April right now. It's not there yet, and April's pretty much gone. So they missed that target, but nonetheless climbing to 97 by the end of this year. May or may not happen, but that would be an amazing return if you bought it right now. $164 by the end of next year, 2022, and $232 by the end of December 2023. So those are some pretty good numbers. Obviously, it may not get there, but I'm still going to invest some more as I can. Tesla, I'm honestly glad I didn't buy the other day. I still think it's something to buy into, but I'm glad that I may still be able to get in at a dip, and it would be fractional shares even if I did, but I'm not really sure where the bottom is on this. What I am sure of is Tesla is light years ahead of anyone else, I will say, in the world. I'm not saying that there aren't others like maybe Neo and what's the other one, because I don't follow it as much, but Ping, Zing or Ping, and I don't have that on my oh yeah, I do, Xping, have that on there as well. It also is over half right now of its 52-week high. So another EV company based out of China that you may want to look into. Going to go back to Tesla for a minute. As I was saying, I don't know where the bottom is on this, but what I do know is Tesla, again, is probably, if you're going to obviously pick any one company that's dominating and has their foot in the door and energy and space, obviously with SpaceX, although there's not a direct connection there, all those kind of things, I think Tesla is something that I would want to be in at some point. So we'll get back to the questions, or to the comments here at least. Hey Colleen, hey, thanks for joining. It's our 100th episode. We've gone live now for 100 days in a row, so thanks for joining us for that. To the moon for sure. So it'll be interesting to see, right, what happens on tomorrow. Actually, I'm thinking that tomorrow might be a pretty exciting day. I'm not so certain what May 8th itself will bring. A lot of times all of the action actually happens the day before the actual real thing, right? So buy on the news instead of the actual occurrence. GME all in, yeah. Coinbase is good, but is where it's at, RN. So what's RN? I know what you're talking about GME, but it's a lot of good stocks, honestly, just like there's a number of good tokens to get into as well. But the hardest part is when you have only so much money to invest. What do you do? I think the only thing you don't do, or the only thing I'm trying not to do, is to be all in on only one or two things. You want to diversify. I think it's been shown over time, at least when you look at the averages across numbers of people and all that diversification is certainly a better approach than being all in. Been plenty of people, obviously, or a number of people that have been successful having only a few things. They just picked really well, and good for them. But the odds are against you, generally speaking, if you don't diversify some. I mean, let's just look back in the day when we had the tech bust, right? There were lots of people that had maybe sizable portfolios, but it was mostly on tech because at that point in time, the returns were outrageous, and that's what happened. The valuations were out of whack with reality, and it finally, it finally all came tumbling down. So be diversified is my thought. So I'm hoping, here's the other interesting thing at times, and it's possible that some of these whales that we talk about a lot, or maybe even in, the other parts of the world like Asia or whoever else is waking up when America goes to sleep, because that's where I live. So I'm not partial to that necessarily, but I mean, since that's where I live, when I say when we go to sleep, someone else is coming awake or have been awake for a short period of time. A lot of times, in these early U.S. morning hours, we see a fair amount of activity, but it remains to be seen what is going on, now. I guess one thing we'll do, since it's, I think, typically kind of interesting, let's go look at what some of the whales are doing. And I know you can't see my screen yet. I'm going to wait till I've navigated to where I want to go, and then I'll pull it up. So this is what was one point in time on a particular day, whale number 3. I don't honestly know what where they're at right now as far as rank, but I want to look and see what they're actually doing, because they are one of the most active, have been one of the most active. So they've not been doing anything yet today, the 30th, because it's now been, at least here in Texas, Central Standard Time, it's been April 30th, Friday, for 43 minutes. But when they are active, they're pretty active, right? So here they sold 20 million at 28. Here's what I don't understand, right? This is super interesting to me. I can sit here and watch the ticker, watch it, never see it get to 28 cents, but yet I see all of these buys and sells that are at prices below the low in some cases. So I don't even know how all that happens. It's really interesting. So I don't even know how they come up with these quantities. There's got to be some type of program that they're using that has some kind of intelligence, if you will, built into it. But I will show you, since we're just doing this, this was one of the ones that has gone to zero a number of times. Here's like the first in recent times. So back on the 25th, they went to zero, owning nothing. And then not too long after that, they just started buying again. And at this point in time, they're driving, in essence, they're buying incrementally at lower and lower prices, right? Because you can see this. They first bought 5 million at 26 cents. I'm sorry, not 20, 300, 320 million, 300 million, 300 million again, 300 million again, 300 million again, 300 million again, 300,000. I keep saying million. I'm sorry. And then 1,000,002 here. And then the price just starts getting lower, 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 lower. And then it finally starts going back up here. So anyway, it's just fascinating. I don't know what to tell people necessarily other than, hey, I would go look at these things. So what I am going to do is put in the chat here the kind of the top level, if you will, of this. And I typically go into the rich list. So actually I'm just going to put this top level link in the chat, and you can go check on this ever so often. And I do believe that it might help you make some decisions, at least get some kind of idea of maybe when things are going to have a period of what I would call normalcy. Yeah, no, I think, Sean, I think they have a really good chance. I know they've got a lot of good real world applications. And so I think a lot of people, including me right now, are, because other things are more a sure deal that we're into. So I would expect that once and I think they have a really good chance of winning, if you will, or coming out of this without any issues and being listed again, right? That's going to be another thing that's going to be important to them. Get back on Coinbase, maybe, and others, Robinhood, Webull, at the retail level, that would be good. But yeah. Okay, you're saying your chart shows them at number 1. That's very possible. Very, very possible. Here is the link. I'm just going to display it on the screen, but it's in the chat now. So let's see what else we wanted to cover here. We are starting to get some positive, quote unquote, articles, if you will, right? So like this one, for example, new all-time highs poised for Dogecoin, Cardano, and Litecoin. And this was put out, now it's yesterday. This was put out on Thursday. And, I'm not going to necessarily go through it all, but again, I don't know why they necessarily picked those, but I'm definitely keen on Cardano. This Scott Melker guy, I think, is well known. I think he's thought of as a subject matter expert. So let's see what they say about Dogecoin, though. When it comes to Dogecoin, or Doge, the trader believes it needs to break through a high resistance level before it can gain bullish momentum. Really? I'm not laughing, and I'm laughing, yes, but and maybe this is helpful for the uninitiated, if you will, but I really want to know, and I don't mean this in any bad way at all. What do they mean in this particular case? High resistance level. I know that's terminology used in technical analysis, but how is it where it's really at right now, a high resistance level, if the whales are artificially basically being able to control it? So unless we're going, and maybe we can call that if we want, unless we're going to accept the whales activity as a part of, quote unquote, normal market activities, then again you have to take them into consideration some, and then that's when I don't think that this vocabulary is very helpful, because it's referring to technical analysis, which again I will contend is not very useful with Dogecoin. Now I'm not suggesting that whales only operate within something like a Dogecoin. But again, there's maybe a lot more whales, right, in the Dogecoin, and they're really active and not just holding. There are some that are just holding, but there are enough whales that are buying and selling and all that they're controlling in many ways the price. Despite all of the Dogecoin glory, it says crypto analysts are very optimistic about the future. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, despite all of the Dogecoin glory, crypto analysts are very optimistic. I mean, that's just like saying, anyway, it sounds good. Dogecoin price forecast are all pointing upwards. That's good, right? That's really good, with some even predicting that the coin will reach $1 this year. I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying that it could reach $1 this year. And I think, again, given a number of important catalysts coming into reality, if you will, and with the help, in one sense, of the whales, and that help being maybe they lift their hands for a while of any manipulation, then we could see $1. The real question in my mind is when it reaches $1, does it then immediately take another, kind of turn down, or does it kind of hang there for a while and maybe even go to a new high? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. I think what I will probably do, if I can, I will probably come on maybe live a little bit throughout the day, and especially if things are kind of getting exciting or heated. Again, something could happen tonight while those of us that are up right now, regardless of where you're at, unless you've already gotten up because you work evenings or you're in a different part of the world and you're now starting your day. But for those of us that are about to go to sleep, it'll be interesting to see what happens throughout the night, because my guess is that there could be some things that happen tomorrow, could be some things that happen, early on Saturday leading up to Elon Musk being on Saturday Night Live. So here's what would be interesting, but I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think Saturday Night Live is that sloppy. I don't know how in the world the video with Mark Cuban and on the Ellen Show, it actually got leaked somehow or another the day before. And, honestly, not much happened as far as price movement with that. So I'd be curious for those of you that are, again, whether you're here live with me right now, if you're watching the replay, two things, or three things. Were you expecting anything? I'm just curious what you would have been expecting. There's no right or wrong answer to that. And I was hoping for some things as well. So the fact that nothing happened has nothing to do with the fact that there might have been reason to believe that something would. But by and large, nothing happened with regards to the price. But what I do think happened is it gained a lot of press. There was a lot of people that talked about it. Some made fun of it. Others saw it as a positive thing, as another way of legitimizing Dogecoin. And I think Mark Cuban, other than comparing it to gambling, I don't think that was necessarily that's definitely not what I would say. But Mark Cuban can say whatever he wants to say. I think the introduction to cryptocurrency was a really good point. I think the basically talking about it as being in essence a currency or something like our dollars, I think that was also a good point. I would not have compared it to gambling. I don't think any of us think it's just short of gambling, right? I think we all believe that it's something much less, it's not really comparable to gambling. I don't believe. There's inherent risk with cryptocurrency. Obviously, there's inherent risk with the stock market. There's, the risk reward is always, or the risk is always take into account with regards to the yield, if you will. So if you're willing to risk more, in almost every case, you're going to receive more. So yes, there's some risk. But that being said, I think that I would not have said that particular part. But anyway, it's good that he went on. So we'll just have to see what Elon Musk, what's in store. I've heard at least that Miley Cyrus also had some kind of positive comments about Dogecoin. So, I think now's the time to get in. Yesterday would have been a better time. The day before that would have been an even better time. There's no bad time to get in at this point in time because I think it's ultimately going to head up. I think why not? Why not go to $1 before the end of the year? We got a long time still left before the end of the year, before December 31st, for things to happen. And I'm looking forward to those. I'm looking forward to dollar cost averaging and getting more in my own portfolio. I'm looking forward to when I look at the larger space, if you will, within cryptocurrencies, looking forward to bringing in a few others into my portfolio, not only because there are some other exciting projects out there, but to diversify my portfolio. And then also, as you already have seen, I have a number of stocks that I own and others that are on my wish list. So I think that's where we're going to leave it tonight. I do want to thank you again for those of you that joined me live for my 100th episode, 100 days in a row. I really, I think it's an amazing milestone, if I can say. But now we're going to continue on. We'll be back tomorrow. At some point in time, we'll have definitely at least one quote-unquote official stream, and it will be episode 101, and we'll see how long it goes. You can encourage me by, commenting, hitting that like button, sharing, all those kinds of things, following me on Instagram, following me on Twitter. Those would all be great. And entering into this giveaway for the Flex Watch, just go to the link that you see right here on the screen right now. And if you do that, sign up, get on my email list. I'll also be letting you know how you can get some extra entries, and we're going to have some fun with it, and someone's going to win a watch. So that's all we have for tonight, and so we'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.